What's up, everybody? It's time for Tough Topic Thursday. We haven't had that for a while. We've been busy with so many other things on the channel. But shout out to Vanna for sending me this article that I was just so it's a combination of intriguing and deeply, deeply disturbing because it addresses the direction that our society is going in and the long term ramifications if this trend continues. And since this channel deals with a lot of singles and a lot of African American women, and the combination of being black and single, I thought it was going to be pretty important for us to discuss this issue. Now, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be taking some questions. Well, I'm going to pose some questions rather, and be taking some live comments from you. So hopefully, you will have some as we go along. One of the things that I'm going to want to ask you is what the things are that will make you reject a man as not being good enough. And I'm not talking about silly stuff like, well, okay, not silly, but things like, what they look like or something like that. I'm talking about some deep intrinsic values, morals, lifestyle choices, that kind of thing. Because, really, I mean, as we get older or, have car accidents or different things happen, people do tend you look gonna look different than what you did when somebody first got together with you. But looks, I mean, that might get your attention initially, but that's not what's gonna keep you in a long-term relationship, for decades. It's not gonna be what happens. So, there's other deeper qualities that a woman will look for. And one of those things is education. Not necessarily that he has to have a tit for tat, but the values that surround education, educational attainment, and how much education means to you, the values that you teach your children about education, those kind of things need to kind of be in sync because what happens if you have one person who's very into formal education. Everyone in their family is, master's degrees, at least a bachelor's, master's degrees, PhDs, MBAs, this kind of stuff. And then you get with someone who mocks that and thinks it's stupid. And what are you doing that for? And, that piece of paper, that don't mean that's okay. You got uh, a serious difference in attitude. And what is that going to mean as far as you and how you feel about yourself in the relationship? So, hold on one second. Let me see what I got over here. This article, I'm going to start with this one. I have several different points to hit about this particular topic, but I want to start with the article that Sunday sent me, and I don't know what the title of it is because I forgot that part. Forgot to include that part. Oh well, but anyway, basically, it's talking about how fewer men going to college is going to create what he calls a mating crisis. He's going to make a mating crisis. He says that college is becoming the domain of women, that women now make up close to 60% of those enrolled in college. It's a record that we've never seen before in history. And that this gap between men and women is widening. And this professor, Scott Galloway, says that this gap is leading to a mating crisis. So, what that means is, for women who value formal education and what that means, career paths, acquisition of, greater material goods, property that's a higher value, nicer cars, and this, because, the assumption is the more education you have, the higher you are on the pecking order and the higher, income levels that you are going to make. Like someone with an MBA is going to be offered a much higher position than someone with a GED. That's just the way it is. So if a woman, especially in the Black community, is looking for a man who is, which, what the Bible calls, what they call it, equally yoked. Okay, that might necessarily mean religious wise, but there's some big association with it. So if you got a guy who's like, drop out or GED maybe, or some couple of years of college but no degree, what does that mean for a woman who's a real striver and who wants to get her MBA or a master's degree or a PhD in her field? How is that going to work? How do you feel about that? And how is he going to feel as you go through this educational system and your income and opportunities increase, multiply like tenfold, and his don't? Now, I'm not saying that everyone who has a degree is smart and makes a lot of money, but the obvious thing is it creates more opportunities. Let's put it that way. Likewise, there are people that have a lot of education, what my grandfather used to call an educated fool, because all they know is what's on that piece of paper. You get them outside of that kind of element, the educational arena, academics, they really don't function too well because they don't have what we call common sense. They don't have much common sense. They don't have much street sense. But I think focusing on the educational part, that's the only part I'm really going to talk about tonight, because we could be here for days talking about all of it put together. But what does that mean if you have all these women enrolling in college? The thing that's the other scary part is men drop out more. So they're already enrolling at fewer numbers, but then they have an even higher dropout rate. So that means the number of women who are actually graduating from college is a lot higher than the 60% who, quote, enrolled. So this is going to become really interesting, a really interesting situation. So what I want to do, I'm gonna put the access, the backstage access information here in the chat stream. And Shay, if you could copy it and repost it every now and then, that would be great. And I would like to hear from you. What kind of what kind of things would make you reject a man? How important is education for you? What kind of things do you tell your children about school and education? How is it going to work if you are an educated woman and you want a man who's got that same kind of degree, or something? This shows that he's got some kind of interest in higher education, but he doesn't have it. What are we going to do? Because so many women say they want a man who has a degree. They have one, sometimes two or three. They just don't care about him having one that matches there. They just want him to have like the basics, a bachelor of science, a bachelor of arts. So if the guy doesn't even have that, does that automatically make him someone that you would overlook? How do you feel about that? Oh, DP is here. Let me see what she got to say. What's up, girlfriend?
Yeah.
There you
Can you
go.
hear me?
I'm in here now.
Yeah, my top
You
five
keep talking. I
reasons.
forgot to plug in my mic. They can hear you. I can't. I'm the only one
Okay.
who can't. So keep talking.
My top five reasons to reject the
I forgot
man
about this
is
part again.
um not having his own place, not having not having a job that has like a decent income because the cost of product, services, and goods continues to go up. Um, not having any type of integrity, not having character, not being honest, not being a provider, not being a protector,
It's
and
kind
not
of
able to get alongside me and work together as a team instead of this submission crap that men love to talk. And you already know I have a son, and I'm drilling this in his mind now about how important education is. And he's in his first year of high school, and I said, this high school is preparing you for college. You got to get A's and B's. He want to go to UC Berkeley. I said, you can do it, but you got to put in the work. You got to be able to compete with men of other races, because if you don't have an education, you're not going nowhere in this world, and you will get left behind, and you'll be in a cycle of poverty, or you'll be in a cycle of poverty in prison. And that's not what I want from my son.
I understand. I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, I'm just looking at this comment here. I wanted to put this up. Pretty Natural says she's educated, but her income is low. We don't need education. We need skills like plumbing. People like auto mechanics, plumbers, electricians. I get that. You can learn skills online. A degree is overrated. These kind of skills you cannot learn online. Well, I mean, you might be able to learn them, but you still have to be able to pass the certification test. You have to go through the whole journeyman process where you work under a master craftsman. So there is still some education required. And if you too stupid to understand about electrical currents and different voltage and stuff like that, if you don't get what they're talking about plumbing and flows and what kind of pressure that those certain pipes can take and all this kind of stuff. There's math involved in that. There's some algebra and geometry involved in that where you calculate the proper angles and stuff like that. If you stupid, you can't be a good mechanic, nor can you be a good plumber, nor can you be a good electrician. Those are good skills. Same with computer programming, building computers. Those people are still smart people. So if you have someone stupid and they don't get anything or they can't study, they don't stay focused enough, they're still not, it's not the degree so much, it's the ability to learn and stay focused and accomplish something. Every single thing that you mentioned requires an education. It may not be a college education, but it still requires an education and training. It requires commitment and focus and dedication in order to pass all the tests, get all the licenses for the state. And if you decide you want to have your own business, to set everything up so that you're successful, you pay your taxes, you pay your employees, you do get know how to bid jobs, all that stuff. And you can't be stupid in this day and age. So what we have is a lot of people who don't have those kind of skills, um, and they're out here in the singles world demanding that they get access to women. They get angry when women reject them. So that's what I wanted to ask you guys. What are your things? Just call in on the little thing there. Just click that link if you have a headset mic, and then you can participate in the show because I would like to hear what you have to say. Yeah, like Michelle, it's not all black and white. There's people taking courses of a wide variety of things. There's all these different trade schools. I'm not saying necessarily that it's limited to college, but when we're looking at the opportunities and the different doors and how you can move and shake when you have a good education because it creates transferable skills. You're not limited to that one career path. You have a degree in, say, mass communications. That's what mine is. You can go into TV, you can go into radio, you can go into, like newspapers, press, you can go into magazines, you can become an author, you can be uh, working in what I do now, podcasting, blogging, and all this kind of stuff. And even though those you don't require a degree for that, I think you're able to create better programming. And like I said, I've had opportunities to hop around, worked in .coms, I've worked in marketing, I've worked in promotion. You can move around in all kind of different fields and all kind of different positions. Whereas if you're a plumber, you just a plumber. You got me? That's what I'm saying. So there's nothing wrong and there's no bad that can come from you being educated because you can take that everywhere you go. Yeah, you do get there may be a blue collar shortage, but again, it requires skills that some people don't have. So even though you say, well, you're not going to go to college, does this person have the skill set to become an electrician or a plumber? You can't be stupid in those kind of fields, and you're responsible for people's homes and businesses. They're responsible for people's safety. It requires somebody with a real sense of commitment to truly learn what they're doing before they start putting pipes in people's houses and the thing busting and flooding people out and stuff. You know what I mean? You cannot be stupid no matter what kind of craft you get into. So if you have someone who sees no value in learning anything, they just want to have a basic job doing basic stuff, How is that going to work? And if all of us as parents, we're teaching our kids to chase education and degrees because we know the value of it and the wide amount of doors that your child that those doors open, because a lot of the basic criteria these days, you can't even be a receptionist anywhere without a college degree. A receptionist, okay? You have to, people have to start thinking about this kind of stuff. And parents, we're going to be talking about this on the show with Ken. It got the single parents raising sons. That show got moved. He couldn't do it on the 15th. Something came up, so he called me yesterday. So we had to move it out a week. So it's going to be, what is that, the 22nd instead of the Friday the 15th. But we're still doing it. And that's one of the things, we want to talk about is, better planning. Parents are doing better planning for their children's education. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be college, but you have to work with the skills that your child has, their aptitude, figure out what that is, and then kind of direct them towards that so your child can be successful. You can't support them your whole life. What are they going to do? What is your child going to do? And as a young man, is this guy going to be someone who a woman is going to look at as a viable mate? And that is what I think this guy is talking about in this mating crisis, because we got all these dudes that are dropped out of college and they're not doing anything else. They're sitting at their parents' houses, playing video games and stuff. I mean, that's poor parenting, but this is still happening. So these guys are angry because women don't want them. They're mad and forming at least 5-letter groups and ranting and raving online about, how they're a good man. You're an unemployed, sitting on the couch, video game playing bum. Okay, working at 7-Eleven is not a viable job. It might be enough for you because it enables you to buy your soda pops and Taco Bell, but you can't afford afford a family with that. You think the wife is going to be working like a dog and you sit on the couch playing video games and making $12 an hour at Taco Bell? Ooh, honey, I don't know. These guys, it's got a really unrealistic idea of what it is because they just feel like, well, I have a job and, you know, I should be able to get a woman. They should want me because I'm a good guy. No, you're a broke bum, sir. Nobody wants you. Well, there's a way to utilize your knowledge, but you still have to be able to make some money. Michelle, see this is it. You got to be able to make some money. And if you have someone who's silly, okay, you got somebody who's lazy, they're not going to think of the creative ways to utilize their knowledge. So you keep circling back to what I'm saying. Whether it's in education or training or anything else, it requires somebody who's got some get up and go. It requires someone who's got drive, ambition, and a desire to do better and be better. And if you don't have that in the men that you're meeting, how viable and sensible are those men to be mates for women? Are they gonna just be left behind? We have a whole generation of young men who don't work. They aren't even trying to work. They don't go to school. They expect people to give them things and take care of them. Remember the show we did a few weeks ago about women looking for men, treating these men like wives? That's where that came from. So, here's the link again as you guys think of your top 5 reasons. Diana gave hers. And, I'm interested in hearing what you ladies have to say about it. What kind of things will make a man, make you just be like, this is a just no. I'm not dealing with you. I'm not doing it. A mating class, that's probably a good idea. But these are the kind of things that parents are supposed to be teaching. Parents need to be teaching these things. This is something. This is what the guy says. College becoming the domain of women. 60% of enrollees are female. This is widening and it's leading to a mating crisis. And later in the article, he talked about, even the men that are enrolled, a lot of them drop out at a far higher rate than the women do. So this number is talking about enrollees, but it does not reflect the even higher percentage of women who graduate versus males. So it's a real interesting thing. So let me get to, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Chiselle. I'm going to go with that. Chiselle, your mic's open.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you fine.
Oh, good. I'm glad it worked. How you doing, Deborah?
I'm fine. What's your comment?
I've been following you for a while, but
Oh,
I
have
was,
you?
I have. I really enjoy your topics, but something inspired me to call in today. This is such a great and relatable topic as it pertains to education and dating. I feel like for myself, I'm not like I don't have these staunch or concrete expectations around, the person that I'm with has to have a very specific degree or anything like that. I don't come from, the elitist background of academia or anything like that. But, you know, um, I am in grad school currently. I decided to go back, a little bit later in life. I received my associates in my early 20s, and then I went back to school. I graduated last year for my undergrad, and now I'm going back for my master's. And it's very interesting, when I think of my dating history. And I feel like the biggest thing for me and what I'm mostly attracted to is someone um, who has some type of vision and passion about like where it is that they're going. So I don't put so much of that emphasis on their degree, but it's like, okay, well, what have you invested your time and your skills in, in your life? Where do you want to take it? And when I see someone is just kind of going with the wind and not really having that, what is that motivation, that okay, this is what I feel really great about, these are the action steps that I'm putting into place to get there, um, etc., that's attractive to me. And quite frankly, while I believe in building, as a team, I feel like I also am probably more attracted to someone that is either where I am or doing better than me, somebody that I can learn from and that can empower me as well, as a woman, because it's hard enough for us out here trying to make it on our own. A lot of us, especially Black women, have been at a disadvantage in the sense of coming from single parent homes and having to be super independent and making it ourselves. We haven't had much of a choice. Um, and a lot of men kind of fault us for that, as if we just said, hey, like we're just bragging for it. I'm Miss Independent, and it's like, I don't have a choice. I'm an adult out here trying to get it. So it's tricky for me. So I think a lot of it does rely on like that passion and that drive and the action steps. Other than that, if I just see you dragging your feet, then I probably will put you in that friend zone.
Girl, I don't even have to. You can't even go there because even that's full of people who's, got something going on. I might not want to be
Yeah.
with them romantically, but they still got something going on. But you
Yes.
can't be my friend. Get out.
Absolutely. You're right though. It's like everyone in your circle, it all matters. Everybody has to be about something. That's at least what we would want.
Because I want to be able to like, with my friends, I want to be able to I don't know. I mean, they're exciting people. They got
Yeah.
stuff happening. It's like when you talk to them, it's like it's interesting and it's exciting and you learn stuff from them. And when you
Yeah.
hang out with them, you get to be exposed to different stuff than you would normally do. And it's just I
Yes.
don't know. That's what I look for. And they have
Absolutely.
different talents and skills and abilities than I do. It's always an interesting time. And
Yes.
so if you just some old sit on the couch video game playing beer drinking bum, I can't be with you. No, we don't have
Exactly.
time for you. You got to go.
Yeah, and it's as they say, iron sharpens iron. So you want people that inspire you as well. It should go both ways. And another aspect for me too is I have only dated Black men, and Black men have always been my preference. But and I also understand, like, rather than just kind of like ragging on brothers who are struggling, I know that they're up against a lot in our society. I know that they're up against a lot of white supremacist structures, et cetera, et cetera. So I keep that there too, my understanding of that. I mean, when I look at the men in my family, I've seen their struggles. So I understand that. But while I understand that, I do still have a personal expectation. If I'm going to spend my energy and my time and my body and et cetera, I at least want to I at least want to be proud of the person that
There you
that,
go. There you
that I'm
go.
choosing, you know.
That's
And
it right
it's
there.
hard in these streets. It's tough in these streets, though. I've been single for like 5, 6 years and celibate for 3. But guess what? I'm happy and I'm peaceful.
And that's the biggest and most important thing. Thank
Yes.
you. Thanks for calling. Dude, that was a
Thank
good time.
you.
Okay, Kier, your turn. Unmute your mic. Let me get you on the show. Kier.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I forgot to add you to the stream. I'm still trying to get used to this new platform, but I think I'm getting it. So anyway, welcome to the show. Just unmute your mic and then you can start talking.
okay. Well, thank you. I'm not like the first caller. She's got a lot more going on than I do. But I just kind of wanted to talk for a second. Since I'm kind of on the opposite side of this. I'm in pharmacy technician school at the moment, but that's right now. That's kind of what I want to do. But yeah, it's just something I like. I want to do it, and I also like it, but it's just that's just a certification. So that's not really where my focal point is. But I need I need a job. I need money. So right now I'm kind of getting into investments and things like that. Getting investments with family members, Black women family members. Thinking about doing real estate and things like that. Um, right now they're just plans of seeds, which is great, which is what I like. But
Hmm.
I just wanted to say that because I'm not really someone who's like I hear a lot of women, they're like I'm in a side business with my male cousin. We're doing a side business with t-shirts, and they've been to school and gotten master's degrees, and I'm not like that by any means where I'm that educated. But I really do look at human behavior a lot since I've been a little girl, and it's just disheartening because I had the expectation when I was little that I was gonna get this strong, well thinking, calculated man who's gonna protect me and be there for me, and who knew what he was doing, because that was the image that I was given as a child
Right.
by the very men who now say they can't do that.
Yeah.
um, that was the thing that shocked me the most, is like I didn't get this image from women. I knew that even at a young age, women and men were different. I knew it the minute they separated us. I was like, why are you separating us? What's going on? I knew there was a major shift when they did that, that there was something different between us. And to me, it was a little weird because at that time, kids are different now. They have more a sense of where they can say more stuff, and it's not as demonized. Back then,
Right.
kids were meant to be silent and don't say nothing. So all you had was your eyes and your brain thinking. You could think stuff, but you couldn't say it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's
and,
not if you want, like my grandma just used to say, do you want your lips? And we knew what that meant. So I'm with you.
oh yeah, and it was just this unspoken rule of boys and men do what they want to do, and it's none of your business. So I was like, okay, that's none of my business. Okay. All right. I assumed, like everyone else, that they were okay because you guys are men. Why wouldn't you protect your own? Why wouldn't you take care of your own? They're little boys. Why would you do that? I assumed as a child, and even now, that they were getting taken care of. I mean, why would you leave us out if you weren't going to take care of them? That's what I thought. I mean,
That
I
would be the
used
logical assumption, but as we can see by what's happening with young men, that obviously is not the case.
Yeah, it's not. And I didn't know that like until like recently, until I got into, well, I'm 31 now and I just got in my 30s. I'm like, what? I could assume that you guys were getting taken care of. But now on the topic of what we're talking about, how, men aren't, I just recently found out about that too, how the whole college thing where guys aren't going to college anymore. And now it's causing a problem with relationships where women are refusing to even entertain them at all because they're not at their level,
Right.
which makes perfect sense. You've been telling us our entire lives that you're smarter than us. You're stronger than us. You're better than us in every way. You're superior to us in every way. And now, fast forward, I'm in my 30s. Now, y'all don't even want to go to college. You don't
Yeah.
even have money. You don't even want to provide. That was like one of y'all staples. All y'all did was provide and protect. That was literally the male slogan given to us by men. And now you're telling us that that's not true. That's a bit of, I mean, that's not a bit of, that's a trick bag. That's a manipulation. And now you're trying to blame us for it. You can't do that. We had no stake in this whatsoever. We were told to sit down and shut up and don't say nothing. We were reduced to the epitome in the position of a child. And
Help
now
me.
you want, exactly, and help me. And now you want to tell me that your helpmeet who was supposed to help you, which means assist in your vision. Now you're telling me that the vision that you had was not a vision at all, and now you want to blame us for it. You can't do that. But getting back to the topic, I'm
Let me put you. Let me get somebody else in here. Hold on a minute.
okay.
Put yourself on mute, and I'll get back to you in a few. I'm going to get these other callers in here and give them a chance. Nubian Ninja,
Hey, Deb.
what's
Oh,
going on? Where's your picture at?
oh man, I'm in the dark.
Oh my God.
Oh
Okay,
Lord.
well just join by audio then.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, hey ladies. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for adding me. I actually have a different alternative for everything. I believe women should just be by themselves for now until they find somebody to have that same standard as them. I found myself during the years of like being committed to a man in general. I gave myself so much that they ended up regretting the fact they met me and disregarded all the things that I've done for them and actually trying to put me down to the point that I had no choice but to leave them and to build myself all over again. So I find myself like, you know what? These men probably do know who I am, but I don't know myself. So I should just go find myself by myself. And until then, when I see somebody who mirrors me, then I can be like, all right, he's the person, like spiritually or energetically. I
Gotcha.
think 3 years ago, you had a couple that spoke about LOVE, which is like their own way of love is a vibratory energy. I'm not sure, I'm
Mhm.
paraphrasing, but it's like that couple was like Asian and black, but it's like they've been together for 60 years or 50 years. But overall, their message was like everything is energy. And once I learned to be by myself and heal myself, I became so resilient. I ended up going back to school and I'm finishing another course now, the healing practitioner course. I'm taking another holistic nutritional diploma that will be certified in like the United States and also in Canada. So I'm seeing myself like once I'm by myself and taking care of my family, I find myself elevating myself more than when I was putting my energy towards men because men were like my downfall. So I'm like, okay, they're not really putting in nothing. Like they see all my value and they don't want to help me. They just want to take. So I'm like, all right, cool, deuces. Because what is the point?
You're right.
So that's my like, summing it up. But thank you
Okay.
for having me.
Thank you. She brought up an interesting point that that same NYU professor that I referred to earlier said that the most dangerous person in the world is a broke and lone male. And I'm going to be going into some more, I'll give some more examples of how that's happening around the world, the examples of it, and the kind of stuff that's going on. And he says that our societies are producing too many of these types of guys. So it becomes a real dilemma, for those of us with daughters. We're looking for our daughters to, we feed them the dream of getting married and having a family and a husband and all this old stuff here. I'm thinking we need to stop doing that because the opportunities for them to have that are decreasing every year. Um, and not only that, these broken lone males, what you have are guys who don't, they're not attractive to women because they don't have anything, right? They don't have education, they don't have jobs, they don't have homes of their own, they don't have credit, they don't have cars, they have nothing of value to offer a woman. They come along with, some some bedroom skills, I suppose, and that's all they have. And some women, are we considered to be the Misha types, will accept them and deal with them. But if a woman, if you have all these other women that aren't in that category, that are going to college, that are trying to make something of themselves, they're taking all these courses, they're trying to better themselves so they can be better parents, better members of society, business owners, and all this kind of stuff. They have their standards are higher. So these guys are going to be limited to the type of women that they're going to be able to deal with. Are they going to really treat those women well? Most likely not, because they're going to be resentful that they can't get the nines and tens. They're stuck with the threes and fours. So it's creating an environment where they're envious that these women that they want, that look good, have things and stuff, aren't giving them the time of day. So they're enraged and they're forming these five-letter groups to complain about it. And, they don't want a quote good man. I might not make that much money, but, I'm a good man. Well, you might be good, but not for her. You just you stay in your envelope. It's creating a really interesting situation. And this is not just here in the United States, this is a worldwide issue. Now, in certain, like in Korea, it's like the most highly educated society on this planet. It's like everybody got a degree. The garbage man got a degree. The janitor got a. I mean, everybody goes to school. I mean, the percentage of people that have a college degree there is much higher than any other society on the planet. So that's a society that values higher education. But the problem we're having, especially here in the Black community, is that a lot of people just really don't value education, and they even mock women. These guys mock women that have it, saying rude things like, well, your education don't keep you warm at night, and that ain't what a man, what's gonna make a man pick you, and all this kind of stuff. So it basically tries to make young Black women who are on this kind of grind, this path, feel bad about their educational attainments and the goals that they have set for themselves. They start putting them in a position like, well, yeah, you might have that, but you won't have a man. But it's like, these young girls need to hear why these men are saying that, to understand the game that's being run on them mentally, and to understand that you cannot let somebody hold their company, their companionship over your head to make you feel like you can't be the best that you can be, because you have to keep a space in your life for him who's not trying to achieve anything. So you're going to dull your shine. You're going to slow your roll. You're going to make yourself appear stupid in order to lower yourself down to his level so he feels good about being at the bottom. That's what is happening out here. So young girls, that's one reason why I wanted to do the show. You need to understand what's going on in the big picture, because they tend to just live in this little bubble. They just hear this kind of conversation from the men and they take it to heart. They don't understand what the big picture is and how these games fit in. I'm telling you, this is a trip. Okay, let me add Lynn in here. Lynn, and unmute your mic.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we hear you fine.
Oh, good. Okay. And so, yes, I just recently started watching your show. It just, to me, it's just so interesting. I love your topics.
Thank you.
And my concern is just what you are indicating today is one of them anyway. I'm probably older than you, Miss Deborah, and I was brought up in a nuclear family where I was with a mom and a dad my whole life. They were married until they died. And my parents provided me a foundation. And I think that's what a lot of the young people are missing nowadays. They don't have, and it could be from a single family, I'm fine with that, but they just don't have a foundation from someone. These young men and women need a foundation. Everything starts at home. I don't know if anyone's ever told anyone else that, but charity starts at home. Charity starts at home means you need to be taught manners. You need to be taught everything starts at home. So that when you grow to be 13 and 15, you're not hanging your pants around your behind. Excuse my language. So that when the girls turn 13 and 15 and whatever age, they don't believe that now they're like making it, people believe that being a stripper is something wonderful for young women, for young Black women particularly. My family is a very strange family because we are very educated. We believe in staying married, working on marriages. And my dad taught me as a young lady, have value in yourself. Of course, at the time I was growing up, men were courting women. And so,
Isn't that odd? It's such an odd word.
exactly, they were chasing us, trying to prove themselves to us. You couldn't even come to my house with clothes that didn't look right. You didn't have to be completely decked out, but those type of things mattered. When you came to the house, you had manners, things of that nature. But my point to young women is that they have to stop accepting anything from these young men. I'm highly educated. I have my PhD. My daughter's in dental school and my son's going to be a lawyer. And I'm telling you, it's because we gave them a foundation and we told them this is what's important. Get yourself together first before you can try to get with someone else. Create your foundation. My father gave me a great example of what a man is supposed to do for a woman. And I still believe it today that men are supposed to take care of women. White men will take care of their women in a heartbeat, even though they do some strange things too. But I think our black men need to definitely take care of us. We, at the same time, need to have our education and be able to support ourselves. But I've been married 35 years to my husband, and he and we take care of each other. Again, you cannot just fall for anything out here, young ladies. Everything doesn't go well. Oh, he dresses like this, I'll accept that. He won't take care of the child that we've had together, I'll accept that. You all have to have some standards, these young women out here, and they
Well,
just
that's what we're trying to do, girl. Trying to, educate them because it seems like a lot of parents are dropping the ball. I
yeah,
cannot tell you how many times young ladies come to the channel and say, why did I never learn this? No one ever told me this. And it just breaks my heart, to see them trying to struggle through life unnecessarily without the
unnecessary.
proper guidance and tools in order to be a success and not have to waste their time recreating the wheel and getting hurt and kind of get back up and all this stuff. If these adults around them had taken them by the hand and just taught them something, the
Right.
the girls would have, been able to hit the ground running. They wouldn't have been struggling like this.
And I
So,
know everyone has different situations, but me personally, I believe I would have never had a child as a single woman by myself. I wouldn't have. I know a lot of people will criticize me for that because I know there are different ways to avoid that. So I'm not, it's already hard enough raising a child with two people, financially, emotionally, etc. Why would you purposely get
that's
pregnant
the
by a
topic for
gentleman?
the show on the 22nd. So hopefully you
Okay.
can come back and we'll pick that conversation up with
Okay.
my buddy Ken. But let me get myself back to this topic over here. Thank you. I mean, that is a good point, but I think that point is better for the show that we have coming up because that's the question I have too. But right now I want to talk about, how polygyny is being promoted, especially in the Black community, right? Men having multiple women, right? Do you know in societies where that is the norm, the guys that have the money, the education, and the power are taking all the women? So, your average little working dude, I mean, he doesn't have like, a mega ranch and, 200 heads of cattle and all this stuff. He might have 5 cows and consider himself blessed to have that. But does that mean that he's eliminated from the dating pool? He's eliminated from having a wife. He's eliminated from having a family. He can't get no booty because he don't, they don't have that kind of society where they just be doing stuff willy nilly. So it's creating like nations of horny, lonely, angry young men that they can't get any women because they don't have the resources. And then the women who are the women that they want are being taken up by the greedy men who want to have 8, 10, 12 wives. So for each one of those guys, they're taking up a big stack of women, say in a village or something, right? They got all the young women. So there's like 3 left. So what are them dudes are going to do? So they've been going and pillaging in other villages. In order to get them a wife, they go to other people's property in neighboring towns or village, whatever, and they steal their cattle. They kill off the people so they can take their stuff, so they can take it back to their village and get them a wife, have a bride dowry and stuff. It's some wild stuff. But yeah, this in the same professor. I was reading another article, and this is what he was saying. And in the polygyny, it means that, oops, my typo. That's supposed to say rich. Rich men will take multiple wives, which means the bottom 30%. So it's like 70% of the men have, 80% of the women, and 30% of men have to share the rest. So these guys are just, they're just marginalized, because in a lot of societies, you, as if you're not married, you don't get invited places. You're not looked at as respect. You don't have a family, you don't have a wife, and they look at you like you're some kind of pariah. And so they don't get the kind of treatment and opportunities that a married man with a family would get. They don't get to participate in different kinds of organizations and stuff like that. They're just left out. So these are the men that we're talking about tonight, the men who are left behind. So here in the United States, it's not necessarily that, but if with the lack of education of any sort, it could be like certifications, job training programs, whatever it is, they don't have it. They're just sitting around idle with no money, no job, some little Mickey Mouse, piss ass job. And they feel like, well, I want to be able to have a woman, and I want one like I see on TV and the videos and stuff. Dude, you don't have that. You ain't balling like that. You don't have anything to offer. You can't even hardly make a proper sentence, because they have that mumbly mouth, saying, instead of articulating something and knowing how to conduct themselves around women, calling women females and all this kind of stuff. It's so disgusting, so trashy. So the education I'm talking about is not just school, even though that was the premise of this man's article. It's social education, knowing how to conduct yourself, how to dress, how to eat at restaurants, how to order, how to help a lady on with her coat, how to get up on the bus and let women and older women and pregnant women and stuff have the seat. All these kind of manners and gentlemanly behaviors are lost. But these guys want all the same benefits from women as if they were still treating women like that. And I don't even know what to say. It's just a really horrible situation. Hold on. I'm telling you, me and this light, I just always forget to turn that sucker on. Let's go into some more of this man's article, because it was really interesting. Okay, he's saying mating inequality. Okay, women with college degrees don't want to partner with men who don't have one. And that's very, very true. And then he says, in the most unstable and violent societies in the world, all have one thing in common: young, depressed men who aren't attaching to work, aren't attaching to school, and aren't attaching to relationships. It's worse. It says the Wall Street Journal reported that there's no reversal in sight for this gap. Women make up 49% of college-age people in the country, but in the 21-22 school year, there were 3,805,978 Common App college applications by women, compared to just 2,815,810 by men. At UCLA, they expanded enrollment to 3,000 students, and 90% of those are filled by women. And UCLA is a wonderful school to go to. Okay, so you can't be stupid and go to UCLA. You don't get in. These educators are saying how fast men are falling behind. And as parents, what does this mean? What are you going to do to get your sons, especially the ones who are teenagers or young adults, motivated to do something? So many parents let these men camp out at their houses and just support them, give them money, let them drive their cars, all kind of stuff. You're not helping your son become a man. You're still treating him like a child. These women even clean up the men's rooms, buy him clothes and stuff, give him money to take women out, and all kind of stuff be going on with these parents are part of the problem. Okay, then I found this article. It was written in 1960. Okay, this was from a magazine called Look magazine. The title of it is Men Without Women. And basically it talks about how the impact on society of men who are single, divorced, and widowed, and the lonely lives that they lead without women. one of the statistics that she has in this article, and this, like I said, remember this was written in 1960. They said that if a man is still single by the time he reaches the age of 35, he will probably never marry. What do you guys think about that? You think that's different now? I know some men who were older and got married, but you know what? Didn't last. They weren't used to sharing and taking care of anybody. Huh. Okay, let me just move along from that. He says some unmarried men long for a scientific approach to mate selection, having been indoctrinated in college with the idea of the scientific method of solving problems. I found that when that method was applicable in almost every area of life except in choosing a wife. Why isn't there some centralized social agency that could at least place men in correspondence with women of reasonably comparable backgrounds? Why isn't there such an agency for fulfilling this obvious need in our society? We have that, and sir, it's called dating. It's called, like talking to people. He just wanted to be, somebody just introduce him to somebody who's compatible. They do have those. They're called dating agencies and they cost money. But you just want a governmental agency to do it for free. You bum? I don't know. So you lady, I'm ready to take some more calls if you want to share your thoughts on what it is that you think men are missing that would make them a viable mate for women of today. Education seems to be a big one. What else is missing?
They have no soul.
What? Oh,
They got
soul.
nothing. They got nothing.
What does that mean, though? Can you expound on that?
Mm. I'm trying to see. Trying to see if I can say this simply. I don't think I can though. What I mean by they have no soul is, for me myself, I'm like, how can you say you have a soul, but you see yourself in a young man and you refuse to help him? How can you say you have a soul? I mean, you should be able to see your younger soul in another soul. I mean, that should move you to do something if you actually have one. You know what I mean? Because how can you forget that you're looking at someone who was in the same position you were in at that age? How can you just turn a blind eye to that? I mean, every time I look at a black girl, I can't help but see myself. I can't help but see my sisters. I can't help but see my mom. I can't help that. And I can't turn a blind eye to any of this, because for myself, I look at it and plainly it's not right, because I have a soul. You can't just go through life and have another generation behind you and not teach them anything, and then just tell them, oh well, I learned that way, you'll figure it out too. No, no.
Yeah, this is a problem, and as you were saying that, I recalled having heard myself this, I was asking this guy about his nephews, and I was like, why don't you spend some time with them? Their dad had died, and the mom was, going through it, and she, the boys needed like somebody to teach them the manhood stuff that their dad would have taught them, but had he been around. Do you know what this clown said to me? Why should I do it? Because ain't nobody ever done that for me. That was his reasoning. Just to turn his back on his two little, I mean, they were like 11, 10, 11 years old. They're kids. And in his mind, it was like, well, they could just struggle along and make it the best way they can, like I did. I was so disgusted. I didn't talk to him anymore. I just could not. I couldn't even understand. So when you said that, I flashed back to that, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, now I understand. I know what she means now.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to like boast myself or anything like that, but it took me a long time to get to this point. You're talking to someone, and I'm not kidding, a year ago, if I hear the way I'm talking right now, I would have punched myself in the stomach, because I would have been like, "You optimistic, hopeful idiot! Like life doesn't work that way. What is wrong with you?" And now that I'm at this point in my life right now, and I swear you were not kidding when you said that turning 30 it is like nothing you've ever had before. You could literally give a damn what anybody thinks about you. And especially as a black woman, it's like I've gone through too much. I've sat through too much. I've witnessed too much just for anyone right now at this point to come along and mess me over. I can't. And if I have my soul connected to me, I can't have someone who's with me whose soul is detached from their body. I can't. So I need someone who feeds their soul. I
Gotcha.
need I need someone who, when they hear people, it doesn't fall on deaf ears. So
Okay.
that'd be a question I'd ask him. When you hear people, does it fall on deaf ears? Do you know that you have deaf ears? Do you even know that? Are you aware? I don't think a lot of men are self-aware of themselves or aware of their own gender, period. So I
Nope.
need a man who is self-aware and who is attached to actual reality, not to his own biased thinking of what he learned in elementary school, middle school, or high school.
Well,
You
let's see
know,
what Viola's got to say. I'm gonna add her to the stream. Viola,
Hi, Deborah.
hi.
Oh, hi. I'm calling because I called one time. I called a show broadcast by a male who was asking women to call in that had dealt with unproductive men, and he gave four categories of types of unproductive men that I recognized I had relationships with, and because they happened when I was younger than I am. I didn't have time to realize I was doing this before I was too old to worry about dating because there are so many unproductive male types that I admitted I was codependent. I try to fix people. So
Mm,
he hunted around until he blamed me for it. And so I had to think about it for a while until I realized he was wrong. But there is a statistic that the highest number of men in jail, black men in jail, are the ages where women will be getting married and that they would be finding husbands. Coincidentally, it's the highest number of black men in jail are in that age group.
right.
So a black woman can go her whole dating life, and after one or two of these unproductive guys, she's used it up.
Oh, she has no more interest and no more time.
Yeah, and so he hunted around until he figured that it was me. So I
Wow.
went, well, why did I call you? So
Well, I those that's really interesting. Four types of unproductive men. Well, I would say it was way more than that, but whatever.
okay, so
Thank you.
that's all I want to say.
Okay, thanks, Viola. Okay, let me get Tracy in here. Oops, Tracy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Birthday girl's on. I love this. This is a great way to close out my birthday.
Oh, well,
I
happy
just
birthday.
thank you. I was just thinking, like, I'm listening to everything that's been said, and I was just thinking, like, something that I've been thinking for a while, like that just men are not, either they're not taught or they're not picking it up, the idea of respecting and valuing women. And I think
Right.
part of that is because of how they themselves are worshipped. I mean, I think there's so many families, including mine, where it's like the men of the families are treated like these gems, and the women are just raised and have, are not valued like that. And I was thinking back to a couple months ago, I was on an acquaintance of mine's Facebook page, and I was looking at a picture, like I was looking at her pictures and everything, just wasting time basically. And I saw a picture of her son. Her son is about maybe 12, 13, or 14, and everybody in the comments were talking about how great he is and everything, and somebody said, quote, that this boy is God's gift to the world. And that made me stop and think, what has a 14-year-old boy done that makes him God's gift to the world? And I think that growing up hearing that, they don't think that they have to work hard, they don't think that they have to provide, they don't think that they have to really do anything because they're already a gift. So why do they have to do anything to prove that they're a
Right.
gift? Because they're already a gift from birth.
right? Just by breathing.
Yeah. And I thought of a I thought of another more funny story back from my early days of dating. I was about maybe 20 years old, 19 or 20. And I was like, I had this friend who I would hang out with. And I think he might have in the earlier days thought that we were dating, but but I didn't at first. Like, we were just like friends hanging out. And he didn't drive, so I'd pick him up. He didn't have a job, so his mom would give him money, which of course you talk against, and I agree. And I mean, he played video games. I mean, he was just quintessential, loser kind of thing. But I mean, we were 19, so it was more acceptable. And so, we got together and we started, and we ended up like kind of dating and like in a relationship for all of a week because this happened. I said, I said to him, I'm like, I know you want to date me and everything, and that's fine. Like, it's moving, it's in that direction, but like, you got to learn how to drive and you got to get a job. And he was like, he's like, Tracy, I got to be honest with you. I'm a loser. And he was like, I'm never going to drive. I'm never going to get a job. Like, this is just who I am. And so and he was honest. And so I was like, well,
Wow.
it's, as you say, it's been magic.
Girl, I will pop that phrase out and it'll be an alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, all out. Okay.
Yep.
Oh my God. Well, thanks, Trace. Let me get this other young lady in here. Beautiful stranger. I just added you in. You can unmute your mic and speak your piece.
Hey, Miss Deborah, how you doing this evening?
I am fine. What
I
you going to add to this wonderful discussion?
Yes. So I heard your question about, what is it that men are lacking? I said, let me call in. I'm newly married. So, these things that I'm going to speak on are kind of some of the things I look for myself. I just turned
Okay.
36 2 days ago. So I've been talking to women on Facebook as well. Like, it's really about standards. But I've noticed that the big thing is about the perception of value. So men do not protect what they do not perceive to hold value. And that goes with being a provider, right? Because if you are a provider, you want to do it to the best of your ability. You want to make sure that everybody and everything is taken care of. And the last thing you want to do is slack. Well, if a man doesn't see the value in those things, why would he want to become one? Right. And that's why there's so many men who are angry, as you discussed, angry, and they're hoarding and they're single and they're alone because they don't have the resources that have been made available to them. They've chosen not to take advantage of those. Therefore, they cannot be providers and take on the ownership of becoming a husband, becoming a father, and really implementing that into society. Whereas women, as you stated before, we're going back to school in droves. We're taking on those graduate degrees and those aggressive approaches to higher corporate executive roles. And with that, men perceive us in that masculinity that they would have wanted for themselves. So there's that intimidation factor. So I say all of that to say this, my father pretty much was the one who taught me about men perceiving the value in being a provider, a protector, a father. And if a woman does not meet a man with those standards, please, by all means, keep walking, do whatever
Yeah.
you got to do, run away,
Peace out.
whatever you have to do, because if he's not able to take care of himself, he for doggone sure will not take care of you or any children you create behind him. And at the end of the day, he has to value those things in order to protect them. That's what I
Oh,
have to say.
girl, sing it. Say it. Say that. All those things. Thank you. And she's very right. I mean, it's like, these men, unlike, it's just the culture, I think. In Black culture, it's just marriage is looked at as something to run from instead of towards. They don't even look at the fact that, you got two people in the household working hard and building something together. And then you get teenagers, they get a little job, they help out and stuff, and like pay their own cell phone bill or something like that. It's like got a whole family working together, you're gonna come up. And it's like much more stable for the children to be in that kind of environment. And married couples tend to have greater financial resources than singles do. All around, married men live longer, they have more peace of mind. They're not as depressed, and they have better opportunities in the workforce. So for men, it's a really good thing for them to be married. Not so much for women though, but we'll see how that works out. Let me get Angelica in here. Miss Angelica,
Hey,
can you unmute
chat.
yourself? Hey,
Hey, how are you, chat? So
I
yeah,
am fine, and everybody over here looks like they doing well.
good. So yeah, the last person that spoke had a lot of really good points. I definitely
Didn't
think
she?
the value thing was definitely prevalent, but I think I think what we're missing is like better mental health. Because I mean, it kind of boils down to a couple of things that you've already made videos about: the stupid motherfucker gene, excuse my language, and
Why?
the
That's the
cluster B.
title.
Yeah, and the cluster B issue that they have. And I mean, even a lot of the men that I've dated in my age, and I'm dating men in their early 30s, everything is all about them. They don't value anything that doesn't give them a paycheck automatically, or anything that requires them to have responsibility, like over their family, over actually holding up their end of the bargain to a relationship, like being faithful, being responsible, being dependable. A lot of them are just focused on doing stuff for themselves. And I
Right.
mean, a lot of guys, I mean, some people really don't require that much for themselves. They just want to eat, make sure they have any place to stay. I mean, it doesn't even have to be theirs, and they're okay. And
It
I
doesn't even
think
have
it's
to
a
be
layered
nice.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a layered issue. It's definitely starts from, the coddling. And I think, the other caller that called in talking about a foundation, that's what they really lack. They lack identity, so they find no need to be loyal. They always serve themselves, and they don't see the value in having a woman. Of course, all the dusty people, they want the submission, right? They want the respect, they want
First they
the
may be
power,
talking about.
but they don't want to work for it. They think they're entitled to that treatment. So I think that's where it ties to that mental health thing, because a lot of people that suffer from that dumb MF gene, they have the issue where they want all of the accolades of putting in work without putting in any, just because they have a twig and berry. So I think if we worked on our mental health, well, if men worked on their mental health, they might understand how running away from a commitment and not building a family and just kind of being like a plastic bag blowing in the wind, it
It's
really gets old after a while. I don't, so. And I wanted to add, I read this article where they said popcorn and social media and video games are what are the factors that keep people single. And I know from my personal experience, I've had 2 failed relationships where one of those 3 was the issue.
oh. Yeah, I mean, everything I keep reading is like it's impacting more and more relationships every day. And it's, psychologists and sociologists are really, really concerned. And
Yeah,
along with that, all this popcorn use and all the stuff, men's equipment is shrinking,
it's
and they're
true.
becoming
Sometimes it
more
doesn't
and more of
work.
them are becoming sterile.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 30 yet, and I have run across more than one young man with ED already. So, I mean, it's true. And they were saying in the same article that it's something with their like dopamine sensitivity,
Mm-hmm.
where they start to like crave the dopamine that the popcorn and the video games give you. But regular normal things that aren't exciting, they're not motivated to do it, like go to school, work is
Yeah, but just look
exciting,
at this.
and dopamine fillers,
You
all of that
guys are
stuff.
bringing some really good points up. Thanks, Angelica.
You're welcome.
Really, really good points up. All these ladies are coming at this from different angles, and I just love it because it just, between all of us, we're going to hit it from every side. But look at this. I mean, this part, as well as the lack of college education, the lack of focus, job skills, period, the unwillingness to work. They don't even want to sleep with women now. They just sleep with Pamela and Five Finger Mary in front of their popcorn, and that's good enough. So what is going to happen to society? I mean, you have these guys that are have this mentality towards women, like you're just there, for when they want to take you off the shelf and play with you, then they put you back. Some women are, in these kind of relationships, and I rail against this all the time. You guys have to value yourselves more. There's no reason why you should be in a relationship and you're not getting any kind of intimacy from the man, and because he's all into his popcorn and stuff. Why are you there? What are you getting out of that? Just to say that you have a boyfriend? He's not your boyfriend. He doesn't care about you. You're just something to look at or something. I don't know what that is. But I want women to have place more value on themselves. And there's nothing wrong with you having the kind of expectations that you should have of a grown man. You don't take care of them. You don't help them. If he doesn't come hitting the ground running and being able to stand up for you, provide for you, take care of you and the children he tries to make with you, then you don't mess with this dude. Leave him alone. He doesn't even deserve to reproduce. He doesn't deserve to get no booty. He's not qualified. Okay? Now then, somebody had talked about, their little boyfriend who's still in his mother's house. This is kind of a tough situation, at least right now, because of COVID. There's a whole bunch of people living with their parents because they lost their jobs and they have, kids or whatever. They lost their place. They lost cars. They lost everything because they didn't work for a year. And so that in itself, I'm not really going to charge him with a crime there. However, he should be making plans to get out on his own. Even if he moves in with another guy, they should have their own place. He should not be living up under his mother. I mean, you're even 30 years old and you're still living at your mama's house. What's wrong with you? Living like a kid. And you want to be trying to have, man privileges, and you living your life is like that of a child. That makes no sense to me. Okay, so let me talk about this right here. Psychologists say that men have the most common difficulties of, with finding a wife and settling down fall into 4 categories. Now, remember, this is from an article that was published in 1960. A large number of those who rejected marriage are fixated on a mother figure. These men live at home with their mothers until the death of the parent, quote, releases them, and then find it difficult to carve out a different kind of life because they're used to someone taking care of them, preparing their meals, doing their laundry, all kind of stuff. A second and familiar type is a man who's not so much anti-woman as anti-responsibility. He panics at the thought of heading a household and spends a lifetime evading marriage while believing that he's seeking it. Some of these unmarried men carry heavy psychological burdens. They are raised with admonitions to be a man, be independent. And some adult males become confused over the conflict between their determination to be truly self-reliant and the need to lean on a woman for love and comfort. Okay, they haven't figured out how to do that. A third troubled group consists of latent homosexuals. These fall into 2 classes. The neuter, who practices no sexual activity of any kind. He's often found working in boys' schools and boys' organizations. And the Don Juan, who we in the Black community call the player type, who is so threatened by his fears of unacknowledged homosexuality that he engages in affairs with multiple women to prove his masculinity. I always said that was a problem with a lot of them. That's why they go from woman to woman. They're in denial that, they really want to go from man to man. And then the fourth group consists of the nation's confirmed gay men. A recent estimate fixed their number at 5% of our total population. They tend to be found the most in large cities. I think it's really interesting. Okay, the Metropolitan Life Insurance studies show that more than 4 times as many unattached men as married men in the 20 to 74 age range die. They die 5 to 6 times higher, at rates 5 to 6 times higher than husbands do, of influenza and pneumonia. Prior to midlife, 9 divorced men are victims of cirrhosis of the liver to each man killed by that disease. So it's like once they get divorced, I guess they're so emotionally upset they don't get therapy, so they just turn to a bottle. That's what that sounds like. Now, I'm just talking about these reasons why. Oh, what is this? Oh, that's something else. Why women reject men. This is going to be the part where women kind of give guys a some guidance. Some of the callers have pointed some things out. I hope men who are wondering why women they're not having much luck with women. What do they do to get themselves to where in a position themselves where women will find them attractive options? And some of that's going to be put your video game controller down, pick up a book, be able to talk to a woman on the phone, not texting. Okay, have something interesting to talk to her about. Learn to have a sense of humor. And read some books about sexuality so that by the time you do make a woman a woman does the consent to be in the bed with you, she has a good time and she wants to come back for seconds, thirds, 57s. Okay, because if you hit it just one time and you try to hook up with her and she says, "Oh no, thank you," that means your shit was whack. That's what that means, and you just ain't coming back for that. Yeah, it is that causing ED. Plus, they sit down too much. Men are supposed to be up working. You sitting down all the time. All your shit is getting all compressed, and then you've got low sperm count and stuff. They can't make no babies. Dudes, even though these parents, I don't know, make your kids get up and do some damn chores. Get them outside, even if you don't have a lawn and stuff. Take their butts down there and pull weeds between the cement cracks and stuff. Make them do some work to beautify the neighborhood. Go to the park and pick up garbage and put it in the can. I mean, they need to do something. They need to have a purpose other than sitting around playing video games. I tell you, my mothers and fathers, they used to make up some shit for us to do. And just like, well, you go clean all the doorknobs in the house. We had a 2-story house with 10 rooms and hella doors and windows. Clean all them windows with them little tiny squares. The old Victorian, San Francisco Victorian with the little square. Oh my God. You talking about 2-day job and stuff. So we learned real quick not to say that we was bored. We would just make up shit to do. So we would stay out of their way, stay off their radar. But these kids don't even have any chores. They don't wash dishes, don't take a garbage, don't do nothing. They just sit around and complain and play video games. They don't even offer to help their parents. Just bums. Okay, so this article is called 5 Reasons Women Reject Men. Hint, they're all valid. That's in the title. And it's by this guy that, I don't know, he did really well until he got near the end. And he had a part why women shouldn't reject men. I'm going to rip him to shreds on this one. Okay, so let's talk about these 5 reasons. These ladies have mentioned this in the callers that we've had. Career ambitions. Career ambitions was the number one. Women don't like a lazy man with nothing going on, no plan, no dreams, no career path. He just works a little basic part-time job and that's it. Women don't want that. So if you're happy with that, dude, just resign yourself to a life of being single and living with your mama in her basement because that's all that you're going to get. Okay? Don't nobody want a man like that. Even if you do manage to get a woman, she's not going to respect you as a man. So don't come talking about, I'm the man of this house. No, you're the little bitch of the house. That's what you are. So don't get upset when she, just clowns you and talks you crazy and stuff because you position yourself to be treated that way. There's nothing about you that screams manhood. Okay, you scream childhood. Yes, they did have rites of passage. You're right. Let me show this thing here. Men had rites of passage. You're right. In other cultures, you are so correct. They sure do. These were not easy and were used as a way to test and teach men physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual discipline. Exactly. Yep. Unfortunately, yeah. And boys looked forward to that. They would train for it and stuff. And they were so proud. If they passed the test and became a man, I mean, it meant something. Now they just want to take the title just because they have. Who was that? Was that Tracy? Somebody here? Somebody said because they have twigs and a twig and some marbles or whatever. I thought that was funny. Yeah, it is biology because women want someone who's strong. I mean, the pull for us to reproduce with like the man who's at the top, the alpha, this one who's strong, who's got good genes and power and who's dynamic and all this stuff. It's like it's a cellular kind of thing. So if you don't project that kind of energy, dude, no woman except the loser is going to want to be with you. So then you're going to sit up there with your loser woman and have loser babies and just put more losers into the world. That's not a good plan. So career ambition is number one. A lot of men get rejected because they don't have any. Okay. You even meet guys in their 30s and 40s who are just wandering around lost and, just working one little Mickey Mouse job after another. And it's the same thing. They're single. Nobody want them. They don't keep a relationship because they don't bring anything, as love dudes love to say these days, to to the table. At least have yourself in school, even if you're not really employed right now. If you're in school, that even is a pass because it shows that you're trying to do what you're supposed to be doing as a man. I'm not really sure what happened to manhood and where it went, but they're as a parents, especially if you a man in a family, there's like the single moms in your family, and you got little nephews and cousins and stuff like that. Do something with them little boys. Help them raise themselves up. Teach them stuff so they don't grow up and be stupid like these dudes that we're talking about. It's just wasting time. The number two thing that was on the list is reputation. Okay, so if you've acquired a reputation for dating women seriously and then breaking up with them, every woman is going to be, kind of concerned about dating you and putting emotion into you. Most of them are going to leave you alone because your reputation, honey, believe me, you want some dirt on somebody, you let women tell it. It's going to be on every forum, every social media site. It's going to be tweeted, WhatsApped it, and everything else on TikTok, all kind of stuff. It's going to be everywhere with your name and your face. And won't be shit you could do about it because you did what they're talking about. That was you. So, a man who does that, like the dude, he's going to date somebody for a year or two, then break up. Then he dates somebody else for a year or two. Then, where these women are, he's making promises about the future and all this stuff. And then it doesn't happen. Don't you know that gets spread around? Women tell each other this kind of stuff. And after it happens like the second, third time, your name is mud. So then you have a reputation. Like what if you have a reputation for being a player? You just go from woman to woman, woman to woman, woman to woman. Nobody's going to take you seriously. So by the time you decide you like this girl and you want her to be serious with her, trying to put some emotion into it, she's not going to trust you. She don't think you gaming on her just like all other times. So dudes don't be thinking about this. So your reputation, you got a reputation for being a bum, for violence, for being, a homosexual, whatever kind of way you behave and conduct yourself, you're creating your reputation. And you as a man, that's all you got. That's all you got. Your word and how you conduct yourself, which is like how people perceive you as a man. If you project yourself as being trifling and stupid, then please explain to me how you figure that you're going to get a woman. Especially you in these 5-letter groups, right? And you showing your face and got your name up there and stuff and preaching, making videos about how much, women are this and women are that and these females and all this kind of stuff. And you think, as small as the world is now that the internet is here, that women are not going to recognize you and know that that's you and remember all the vile things that you said? And then you're mad that you can't get a woman. You think. Because, we remember that stuff. We remember your name. We remember your voice. We remember everything you said. All right. And then he has a third thing here because you're an abuser, you're insensitive, or you just a big old jerk. All of those things are true. Grow up, he says. Be a man. Learn how to treat a woman. Don't believe that crap that women are not wanting to date nice guys. The kind of woman that you want as a wife will only date nice guys. Just remember, nice does not mean wimpy. It means caring, sensitive, attentive, and most of all, giving. What does that mean? That means if you approach a woman and you say, well, I want you to pay half on the date, that's not giving. That's not attentive and it's not sensitive. Neither is it showing courtship behavior. Neither is it projecting, I'm going to be the kind of guy who will take care of you and my kids. Instead, what it says is I'm a bum and I want you to pay half. And if we get married, you're going to be like a roommate and you're going to pay half too. That's what that means. So she's not going to be able to depend on you to take care of anything. She's just be entering a roommate situation, which she can do with another woman. She doesn't have to be in there doing your laundry and sleeping with you and dealing with your mama and all the drama, putting birthday parties together for your kids and all this kind of stuff. She don't have to do that if she's going to be paying half. See, you're paying that in exchange for all those that emotional labor that she presents to you and your mama and your family and all your friends and your boss that comes over for dinner and all this stuff that men expect women to do. No, that comes with a price. There's a cost for that. Okay, you don't get that for free. That costs you. And men who think they're going to get it for free get sorely disappointed when they get cussed out and their wife leaves them. Because she's like, no, you don't understand. Okay, now. Some of you I mean, the fourth thing he has on his list is that your life goals are incompatible with hers. You need to share some common vision of how you want to lead your lives and raise a family. This includes religion, but I think it includes other kinds of values too, like, honor, respect, time apart, time together, how you're going to raise your children, how what you're going to do as far as, vacations and do you spend them together? Do you guys, have quiet time every evening? Do you make sure that no matter what's on your agenda, you always have dinner or breakfast together? I mean, a couple has to work these kinds of things out, but you guys have to be on the same page. And men who come in trying to dictate, this girl, I was reading something today where she was talking about her boyfriend. She met this guy, right? And she's dating him. And she said he's just showing this extreme interest in how much I make. And then he came to her house and then he's asking her how much her flat was worth that she bought, how much it was worth. Then he suggested that they move in together and that they live off of one paycheck and save the other one. So, and immediately I knew what that was going to be. He was going to be trying to live off of her paycheck, thinking, well, you already pay everything anyway, so you don't need my money. So I'm just going to save. I already read the game. I could see what he was getting at. So, I was like, girl, you need to make sure that you don't tell him nothing and get him out your world, get him out your life. Don't let him move up in your house. You'll never get rid of him. The next thing you know, you're going to be trying to have his name on your house and stuff. Exactly. Life goals have to be the same and all that. So, in a situation like I just described, she could already see that they were not on the same page. He don't have shit, but he trying to come in and stake a claim on what she has. See, that is two people who just are not, he don't have nothing to offer her. She already got all her stuff like that. She got her stuff balling. She needs a man who's going to come in and add to it, not somebody who's got his hand out and trying to figure out how to take what she's got and put it in his pocket. He's just a gamer. And then his fifth thing is she just doesn't connect with your personality or is not the least bit attracted to you. And this is the most reason, the guys come up and he might be a nice guy, but he's not a nice guy for her because there's no heat. There's no attraction. And guys just don't get that. This one guy actually asked, well, like, how can, a woman turn down a date with me when she's single? And I was scratching my head like, so just the fact that she's single, that's all she needs to choose you, that she's single. That's it. There's nothing about, you being the height, height, weight, look, conversation, energy, sexual attraction. Now, none of that matters. Just that she's single and that you are interested in her. And so that should be good enough. That's what you're telling me. And then he had the decency to be embarrassed. But I mean, his approach was so stupid and so entitled, and that I think is a lot of dudes don't understand. You have to get your shit together. Women are going to be attracted to you when you come in the door and your shit is tight. You got it going on. You got the job happening. Your confidence level is up. You look like something. You got some interesting hobbies and stuff to talk to her about. You know how to conduct yourself around women. You don't walk around referring to women as females. That shows that you're trash. Okay, the very fact that they didn't even come to your mind to refer to young ladies with that tone of voice and that word shows that you're trash. So any woman of quality is going to immediately not give you the time of day because you're stupid. You don't even know how to talk to women. Talking to women like that, just retarded. Okay, so then here he comes. Now these are the things where I was like, okay, dude, you took a left turn here. Why women shouldn't reject men. He says there's certain things that a woman should not reject a guy over because while those things might seem important in the dating stage, they either aren't or can be modified in a marriage. Okay, so basically, this is why I wish I had read this when it first came out because they had closed the comments already by the time I saw it the other day. Because this would be the kind of thing I would have went on here and ripped him a new ass. Because first of all, don't nobody, okay, you don't make it through the dating phase. Ain't nobody trying to be married to you and then hope and pray that you magically change. Only stupid women do that. I know some do it, but they're stupid. Well, it'll be different after we get married. It's never different. Maybe it might be different, but it's worse. It's not better. Okay. Then, so he says, women should always give a guy a chance and refrain from rejecting him until they're 100%, 110% positive that the guy isn't the right one. No, you don't need to be 110%. You just need to be 1%. You know why? Because that 1%, sometimes it's like the little thing Okay, say you have a list of 10 things that you know that will reject you. Okay, so this one is 10%, this one's 2%, 5%, Then there's this one thing that weighs 60%. Okay, so all them other things are good, but then this one thing, he's all fucked up. That one thing is 60%, and so it's out. So in his mind, it's just one little thing. In hers, it's 60% of what she needs in a man. You ain't offering it. See, guys don't understand that. And since most of them claim to be so damn logical and to be smarter than women, you should understand percentages. Okay, it's not hard. So here's his list. His clothing. See, women should not reject a guy over his clothing. Let me explain something to you. We're not your mother. Okay. If you don't know how to dress appropriately when you are meeting a young lady for a date or out about on the town and stuff, then it's not her job to dress you. Okay. It's not her job. You should have learned that when you was in elementary school, at least by high school. And there's this thing called the internet. So if you say, okay, proper date attire for a movie date, for a dinner date, for a casual dining, you plug that into Google and you click that button that says images, and it'll show you like thousands of possible outfits that you could just print it out and then go down to the clothing store, Macy's or wherever you're going to go, and say, I need something like this, fix me up in my size. And then the guy will be happy because you put your little credit card down and then you go on your little date and you look cute. And she's like, oh, look at him. He took care. He was careful enough and cared enough to look nice for me. We appreciate that kind of stuff. But you show up in a t-shirt that you wore 2 days in a row that has like eau de funk on it, and then some jeans that look like you ate something and spilled it on them and you kind of tried to brush it off, and then you think that's good enough. And she's all cute and fancied up and stuff, got her lashes on and all of that. And then you look a hot mess. No, you will get rejected. You will get rejected because it will look like you didn't give a shit. Or you too stupid to know how to dress. So either one of those is a good reason to reject you. We're not your mama. Okay. Number 2, the way his home is furnished, he says. Most guys don't have a sense of style necessary to furnish an apartment that doesn't look like a college dorm room or Austin Powers bachelor pad. Okay, again, Google is your friend. Okay. Oh, you got mama, sisters, ex-girlfriends, you got, your buddy's sister, your buddy's mama. You have options here, including, like I said, going down to the furniture store and say, look, this is a picture of my apartment. I need some furniture for it. What would you recommend? And then those people, that's their job to recommend stuff, right? So they're going to go out and say, you get this couch and these end tables and this coffee table and these lamps and this chair right here, and you'll be set. And then maybe if you want to, then you can put this little decor rug here. Okay. And then there's a couple of plants. You can pick those up at, Walmart or something. Okay. So then with that, in one day you can have your place looking tight. So when she comes over, she's like, oh my God, this is so nice. And you go around and you spray the air freshener so it don't stink like your old socks and stuff. And it looks really cute and she feels comfortable there. She'll want to be there more often because it looks nice, welcoming, and it smells good. Okay. That's, so it's like, who, girl, not showering. Don't you remember the advice letter I got where the dude didn't bathe? His sister girlfriend was complaining because he had bathed for 2 weeks. He was spraying himself and his clothes with Febreze. Nasty dog. Just, retarded. And then she's up there talking about that's her boyfriend. I'm like, nah, you dating Ren 1010. I'm sure the dog smell better than your man does. That's just ridiculous. I mean, can you imagine? And he ain't washed his ass. And can you imagine? And she getting into bed with him? Oh, hell no. That would not happen. So, dude, he says we shouldn't reject him for that. And you walk in and he's 35 years old, living like a frat boy. I don't have time for you. You got some arrested development going on. I'm not your mama. Okay. It's not my job to come in and tell you what to do about laying out your house. That's your job. Or his profession. Okay. Earning a living and supporting a family is important, but being able to maintain an acceptable and realistic standard of living is too. What is realistic and acceptable varies from person to person. Okay. For me, someone working as an undertaker would not be acceptable. It might be viable financially, but I don't want, no. Likewise, I don't want a police officer or a prison guard or a sheriff's deputy. I want anybody in law enforcement. Okay, that's me. It might be a perfectly wonderful job. But it's a mindset for those kind of jobs that I don't want to be bothered with. That's my right. So I have every right to reject a man who comes and tell, oh, what kind of work do you do? Oh, I'm a cop. Oh, yeah, that was really nice meeting you, and I wish you well in life, and I'm out. And then he puts his fourth thing. These are his list of things that you should not reject a man over. His social coolness, he says. Some men aren't the greatest when it comes to socializing. I'm not referring to a man who is socially awkward in an uncomfortable or creepy way. I'm talking about a guy who just isn't a social butterfly that you think you need. Okay, you know what? I have a brother who's a social butterfly. Now, it's somebody like him that he wouldn't work with me. This is my brother, love him to death. But every time I go to his house in DC, we just rip and run with parties and going places and this and that. That's his lifestyle. That's what he likes. I'm not really, I'll do some of that, but like one time we went to this Christmas pageant thing at a church. I was not feeling it. And I said, okay, I've had enough. So I got the keys and went and sat in the truck and waited like an hour for them to get done. And then they came. He said, why did you do that? I'm like, cause I just don't feel like greeting those people no more. I'm not trying to fellowship with all them different folks. So on this one, I understand what he's talking about, but at least I made an effort. But my brother wanted to stay too fucking long. And so by the second hour, I was checked out. And then that's when I went and got in the truck. And so then another hour after that, he finally left. 3 hours of that. I was cool for about an hour and a half, and then I started getting antsy. And by that second hour, I was like, I can't do this no more. But, it's not like we're looking for a man who's, socially cool, but we do want someone that we can take with us places and who knows how to socialize with the people who are important to us. Like if I take you to a job-related event, I need you to be able to talk to me, my boss and my coworkers and our clients and stuff like you have some fucking sense. I don't want to be embarrassed by you. I don't want you acting antisocial and saying crude, crazy things to people, saying stupid stories, putting me down for laughs, stuff like that. You need to be able to have somebody that you can trust who knows how to act. So it's not a matter of social coolness, it's a matter of having social graces, period. If you don't have any, yes, that's a good reason why someone will reject you. And then his fifth point is, he says his lack of verbal expressions of affection. So basically what you're supposed to be with a guy, he might do stuff like, he takes out the garbage, he washes dishes, and he buys you flowers every now and then. And that actions speak louder than words. Okay. No. We're not going to settle for one or the other. We want both. Okay. You could do all those things. You should help take out the garbage and you should wash some dishes. Your ass live there. Those kids are yours. So you can take them someplace and stuff and let me sleep just like I'm sometimes taking someplace and let you sleep. That's called partnership. You don't get extra points for that. You're their daddy. Okay. You need to spend time with them. They're your kids. So you don't get like a round of applause for that. And then then he says, but if you want to, that actions are better than the talker. No, we want both. We want you to tell us what you think of us. We want to hear that you think that we're pretty, that we're sexy, that we're hot, that you're happy that you married us, that you are in love with, still love us as much as you did the first day you met. We want to hear that kind of stuff. Okay. So open your mouth. You can talk all kind of shit about stuff. Open your mouth and say something that's meaningful to your woman that will send her, when she thinks about it the next day and she's at work, into like blushing and smiling because her man is so romantic. Okay, so everything he said on here, that's not a reason for women get hurt when they have a man that never says that he loves them. It hurts her. She's like, I don't know what he feels. He never says anything. And she's hurt because women are very auditory. We need to hear it. That's how come women can hear, like we can tell what's wrong with a baby by the way the baby cries, the grunts the baby makes. We know what's happening, because women are extremely auditory and know what we hear is connected to our emotions. So we can tell when you walk in the door by the way you walk, how you put your feet down, if you're upset or not. We can tell by the way you breathe what your day was like. That's how in tune a woman is to the people that she cares about auditorily. Okay, so you got a man who don't never tell you so you can hear it, how he feels about you. That is a relationship that's going to fail. It's going to fail. So dude who wrote this, who's the name? Arnie Singer, you don't know what the shit you talking about. And I'm glad I ran across your letter. Hopefully one day you will hear this and you will understand the error of your ways. But, it's like with these things, this discussion was a discussion I think that a lot of men need to hear. A lot of people who are parents of, older boys need to hear. You got to start prepping your sons to get them ready for the real world. They have to be in a position where they can compete successfully, not only for education and careers, but also for a mate. These young men are bowing out and then they're complaining because no one wants them. They don't want you because you're not in the market. You're not marketable. Your romantic market value, your RMV, is very, very low on the scale. And a woman who's at an 8 or 9 level, she got shit happening. She got shit going on. She makes sure that her appearance is tight. She's at the 7, 8, 9, 10 level in the RMV. And you a 2 or 3, you don't have nothing going on, and then you're mad because those women don't pay any attention to you. Up your game. Get your shit together. Get yourself at school. Learn something. Get off the texting. Get off the video games. Read some books. Do something with yourself. Get in a class. Get in a trade school. Learn how to do something that's going to put you in a position to have a career path, so that a woman that will get what you can be proud of who and what you are. The man that you have become, she can admire and respect you. Or if you sitting on the couch whining at your mother's house online, complaining, yeah, these females, that nobody's gonna want you. You're a disgrace. You don't even have enough anything going on to call yourself a man. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. Oh, married one of them dolls. Oh yeah, you saw that when that guy was pushing his doll in a wheelchair. That was some freaky stuff. I'll tell you something wrong with some of these people. But I think, thank you guys for everyone who participated in this by calling in and sharing your thoughts. I think it was a good talk, and really something to think about in society where, the psychologist, like I said, pointed out, if these young guys don't start getting redirected, we're going to have societies all over the world filled with lonely, horny, angry young men that cannot get access to women because they don't measure up. They're nothing that women want. So the only way that you guys can get yourselves out of the rut that you're putting yourself in, where you feel so entitled, is to understand what we're telling you as women, what women are looking for to have in a man that they're going to love and be loyal to and respect and admire. That's what you want, and that's what we want to give you. But you have certain standards that you have to meet in order to qualify to get that. It's not going to be given to you just because you want it. It's not going to be given to you just because you was born. Just because you were born and with male bits. It just doesn't work like that. You have to earn the title of being a man, and more so you have to earn the title of being the man that a woman honors with her love and her loyalty. Okay, that's an honor to get that. So you just figure out what you need to do. If you have some issues with any of the stuff that I said, guess what? Today I don't really care, but I suppose you can write questions and stuff underneath the video. Do the dusty voice. I don't do the dusty voice. I try to end my show on a high note. I want to talk about the dusty voice. But I don't know. I think this is really good, and I think that there's some honesty here, and I appreciate everything that the lady said, and you're sharing with the guys. I hope they listen. I hope they pay attention. And if you, as a young man, have some questions, you're looking for a little bit of help, you don't have any direction at your house, you need some resources, somebody to kind of point you in a direction, you take it from there. Just write on the community wall what you're looking for, maybe what area you live in, because these women that come here are from all over the world. So we have a big audience in the UK and up in Canada. Other countries, not so much, but in those 2 areas of the world, a lot of participation on this channel. So if you live in any of those kind of areas, just say where specifically and what your resources are you're looking for help finding, of what you're trying to do. And I'm sure one of the ladies can, come up with something. Some of the guys too, that are here and can refer you to somebody that can help you. Okay. Because the goal is for you to be better, for you to be greater. And if your parents aren't going to step up and do it, we got a whole community of people here willing to, to give you the support that you need, to the best of their ability. With the limitations of what we have here. But there's no reason for you to continue living your life in a rut being angry because nobody wants you when you are young and healthy and you can get off your ass and make the magic happen. Okay. Yeah. Oh, the guys trying to be rappers and your ass is 33. Get over yourself and get in a trade school and learn something. It's ridiculous. I just don't even understand what that's all about. That just makes no sense. What was I getting ready to do? Oh, yeah. So the next show we're going to have is, what do I have coming up? Shoot, I can't even remember. I think the next thing I have scheduled is the interview with Ken, which we're going to be talking about single mothers raising sons. Single mothers raising sons. I'm looking for panelists for that. I'm looking particularly for someone with some experience in the mental health field and someone in law enforcement. That's what I need to round out the panel to make it, really cover all the topics, the aspects that I'm trying to hit. So if anybody knows someone in either of those fields that you think would be a good guest, hit me up on survivingdating@gmail.com and let me know their name and contact information, and I'll be sure to reach out to them. Other than that, you guys take care. I'll see you real soon. Enjoy your weekend. I won't see you this weekend, but I will be back on Tuesday for What the Fuck? Relationship advice column. We do every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you want to submit a question to that, look in the show description down below. Click that link and send in your question using the form that you'll find there. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. I'll see you later. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.